Sanghi, Sanghi, Sanghi. That's what they called me. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. In whispers first, then in college corridors, on tweets, and then in debates. I was learning to accept an identity that was thrust upon anyone who dared to believe in something as old fashioned as nation. I didn't grow up in a household that discussed politics on the dinner table. I grew up in suburban Bengaluru, middle class, ordinary family which were only worried about practical things. My parents were not ideological, they were aspirational. Their biggest dream was that I get educated and go abroad because abroad meant dignity back in the day. It meant system and opportunity. We did not speak of revolution around the dinner table. We spoke of responsibility, the kind that says, don't question what the country has given for you, but question what you have given for the country. This is how our upbringing shaped our Indian conservatism, not through books or speeches, but through lived values. My mother would always say, don't complain always, contribute something good. My father never missed voting for a single day, even in heavy rain. There was no drama, no politics, just a sense of duty. I loved cricket all my life. I've spoken about this before. I chased it with the desperation of a child who believes effort can defeat destiny. I woke up before sunrise, trained till exhaustion, but even on that field, I learned something dark, that merit in India is optional. It is only about connections and quiet trade-offs. It obviously hurt me a lot, like it would hurt many other kids, but it also was an awakening. I didn't quit because I was weak. I stepped away because I wanted to understand why this country, my country, made mediocrity so comfortable and excellence so difficult to achieve. While my friends prepared applications for universities abroad, I traveled the country in length and breadth. I wanted to know India, not from Instagram reels, but from railway stations, village gatherings, election rallies, and border posts. I went to places where maps blur and conversations reveal actual pain and hope in the same breath. And somewhere along the way, through those journeys, those people, I fell in love with the civilization. Not the postcard version of it, but the raw, conflicted, resilient India which will never give up. That's when writing began. Not because I wanted to be a journalist always, but because writing was the only way I could organize all the chaos in my head and express what I was feeling. Swarajya gave me that space for 5 years. The same platform that was founded by C. Rajagopalachari and Minnu Masani, men who believed in limited government, free markets, and civilizational continuity. The India that did not need any validation from the West, and these ideas originated 50, 60, 70 years ago. Their words actually influenced me a lot. I didn't become right by choice. I aligned with a deeper tradition because that is what I recognized. But parallelly, I was also a part of those spaces where being progressive meant competing in cynicism. You could mock traditions, you could spit on your culture, you could ridicule devotion, all in the name of dissent. But if you spoke about the integrity of your nation, if you simply said truth actually matters, you were suddenly far right. In schools and colleges, I was taught to embrace diversity, yet found myself isolated for defending the very civilization that built the diversity they claimed to protect. In those classrooms, faith was respected unless it was mine. Freedom was celebrated unless it questioned their narrative. It was not secularism at all, it never was. It was selective outrage. That's when I truly started hearing it. Sanghi. At first, it came with a smirk. Then it became cautionary. Careful, don't be branded one, you'll be known as a fascist. Until finally, it came as an accusation. The funny thing is, I did not become a Sanghi by listening to any politician. I became one by listening to the silence of those who claim to defend freedom but could not tolerate any difference. It was not Narendra Modi who first influenced me. It was watching the nation lose faith in itself. Between 2010 to 2013, corruption became very normal. Terror attacks were routine. Scams worth lakhs of crores were brushed under political carpets. India felt like it was surrendering. And in the cacophony of those chaos and cynical commentary, one man spoke of building instead of breaking something. Not of entitlement, but enterprise. Not chaos, but displayed courage. He did not brainwash me into loving India. I already loved India much before Narendra Modi came into the picture. Because of parents who believed service was non-negotiable. He just said it out loud when most people were shy of saying it. Years later, I investigated one of the most polarizing events in modern history, Godhra 2002. I met survivors, railway officials, witnesses. I studied old files and not WhatsApp forwards. And slowly I realized truth is not communal, but silence is. That's why I made Forgotten 59 the untold Godhra story. Not because it was safe, but because someone needed to say it. And there it was again. You're a Sanghi, you're a Sanghi, you're a Sanghi. I stand today not as someone who was converted, but as someone who has reconnected with what was always there. My ideology was not adopted. It evolved over a period of time. I am in no sense far right. I am liberal right. I'm a little rooted, but at the same time I'm also rational. I'm conservative, but not in a reactionary sense. I draw from Rajaji, Masani, Arun Jaitley, Atal Bihari Vajpayee not because they were perfect, but because they pursued politics not as a transaction, but as a duty because of dharma, and dharma not in a religious sense. And to the youngsters watching this, those who dream of overthrowing the system because it failed you, let me say a piece of advice. Real rebellion is not screaming online. Real rebellion is staying back and fixing things. Breaking things is very easy. Building is very, very, very painful, and it takes a lot of time. If the world wants to call me a Sanghi because I chose duty over despair and contribution over cynicism, then so be it. I want you to know this. I haven't changed as a person. My ideology has evolved over the years, yes, but I remain who I always was. If anything, I'm more grounded now. I'm still progressive, just not in the performative, shout the loudest sense. I believe in individual liberty, in the freedom to speak, to question, to live without being boxed into identities. And that comes not in spite of my civilizational roots, but because of them. Hindu thought is not codified. It does not demand conformity. It encourages questioning, it encourages more reform and introspection. My conservatism does not reject freedom, it protects it. My progressivism doesn't arise from rebellion against tradition. It flows from a tradition that has always embraced the right to doubt. Therefore, I am a Sanghi because I love something bigger than myself. I was taught to grow up and leave, and I chose to grow up and stay. If that was brainwashing, may this entire generation be brainwashed. To know how this journey began, how politics broke me before it made me, there's another story. Watch the video at the end.